Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Andy Williams.
Thank you, Matthew. I'm Andy Williams. I work on the F5 Silverline team. And what F5 Silverline is it's a managed service for providing DDoS mitigation and web application firewall in the cloud. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about DDoS, web application firewall, and to get into a little bit of detail about what the F5 Silverline service is and how we're helping customers to mitigate DDoS attacks and to provide web application firewall security in the cloud. And what I want to start first with talking about is some of the reasons for DDoS mitigation services. A lot of companies have received ransomware notices. We talk to a lot of customers. I would say maybe 50, maybe not quite as high as 50%, but maybe around 40 to 50% of people have received a ransomware or some type of threat that they may become under attack from a DDoS threat. And in those sort of scenarios, people generally reach out to us and talk to us about what we can do to be able to help prevent that attack. Some other reasons that people look into DDoS solutions, a lot of it is kind of an insurance policy for the company so that they can remain and know that they will remain up under any case of a DDoS attack that might happen on their infrastructure. And another reason would be compliance. So people that provide secure information or e-commerce type of sites, they want to be compliant with certain regulations that they might just have internally. So providing this type of service and solution can help protect them against attacks and protect the information that they hold dear and that they need to secure. I want to talk a little bit about different types of attacks. The largest percentage of them would be HTTP and DNS attacks. And those are basically identifying IP addresses and then attacking those IP addresses, and through that being able to access the company's network infrastructure, maybe steal data or just to knock them off of line. And I also want to take a look at different attack size realities. So usually you'll see in the orange here, the attack sizes generally are falling in the 1 to 10 gigabits per second range. 500 to 900 megabits attack sizes are often very common. Getting up over 50 gigabits of an attack is pretty rare, but it does happen. So based on this is the reason that a DDoS solution needs to be in place, because a company's infrastructure just can't handle this type of traffic without either toppling over or putting themselves at risk for secure information to be accessed from some activist or some third-party person that they don't want to release that information to. And we've seen a lot of that with the Target attacks and the Sony attacks and those sort of things. Now here's sort of a map of like generally where we see a lot of these attacks taking place, and you can see the higher numbers are in areas where a lot of companies, especially US-based companies, aren't doing business. So generally it's pretty easy to spot certain attacks if you say you don't have any customers in Vietnam or Russia, but you're getting all of this traffic coming from those areas. You can almost bet that it's some sort of attack that you're seeing, or it's some type of bad traffic that you actually don't want to look at or let into your network or give access to your network. So there's a few different types of DDoS solutions that are out there. We have carrier-based solutions, CDN-based solutions, and then enterprise cloud services. Now, enterprise cloud services are more fully dedicated solutions, which generally have their own scrubbing facilities. They're geographically dispersed, and this helps you to remove traffic based on the bandwidth and capacity needs. CDN technologies, they're providing a multitude of solutions. So aside from being a CDN, they are also providing DDoS solutions as an added feature and functionality to the services that they're already providing. A lot of customers that we talk to today are new to the idea of DDoS mitigation, and a lot of them they start with their ISP and their carrier. Since they're already using them for traffic and access to the internet. ISPs do provide DDoS protection, but they too are providing it as more of a secondary service. And what we find in talking to customers who use these types of solutions, some of the problems or some of the limitations that that they run into using these types of solutions is, since an ISP provider will be providing multiple services, if that attack size gets too large, so we looked at the slide a couple of slides back, if the attack size ends up hitting that 50 gigabits by chance, or even smaller than that, could be enough for that ISP to need to turn that customer off. So basically, in those scenarios, that customer gets blackholed. Yes, they don't get attacked, they don't get any data stolen, but they do get blackholed and they will suffer downtime in those sort of scenarios. With a more enterprise-based solution, those scenarios do not take place. So like F5 Silverline, we can handle any size of attack. So the customer never needs to worry about ever losing access or ever having downtime if a DDoS attack happens. We take that on, we scrub that, we send back that clean traffic, and all the customer is seeing in their infrastructure is their normal clean bandwidth that they're used to seeing on a normal day-to-day business basis. I want to talk a little bit about the evolution, not just the evolution of Silverline, but the evolution of this space. The DDoS mitigation space happened back in 2003 is where it was born. And the members of that team were Barrett Lyon and Joe Daly were that kind of the brains behind that operation in developing this type of solution. And those people work with us today. So back in 2003, they basically created the DDoS market, and some of you on the call might know who Prolexic are. They founded Prolexic, and Akamai came along and purchased that. The next company that they built was called Defense.net, and then in 2014, F5 acquired Defense.net. We added our own technology, and I want to be clear here that within F5 Silverline scrubbing centers, we are running all of the best of breed technology. So there are different technologies out there. There are hardware technologies that are purpose built to handle DDoS mitigations and high traffic attacks. And we use a lot of those. We use all the best breed technology in our scrubbing centers, along with F5 technology hardware as well. And as I mentioned, in an enterprise solution for DDoS, generally what you're going to see is you're going to see geo-localized scrubbing centers. You're also going to see security operations centers that the customers have access to talk to actual specialists to help them in the case of any sort of DDoS attack that they might be facing. In F5's example, we currently have 4 scrubbing centers. We have one located on each coast, and then we have one in Frankfurt, Germany, and then we also have one in Singapore. We're currently working on implementing our 5th scrubbing center, which will be in London. We also provide 24/7 support through our security operations center. And we have one of those in Seattle, Washington. We also have one of those in Warsaw, Poland. There's a couple of different methods to the service. So in the DDoS space, you'll run into either you can look at the hardware route, you can look at your ISPs to provide that, or you can look at a more fully dedicated cloud-based DDoS protection. A lot of those will be more of a protection as a service, so requires a lot of actual work and monitoring on the customer's end. F5 is providing a fully managed service, and we provide 2 different modes of being able to provide that service. One is an always on. So what an always on is basically that traffic is always running through that scrubbing center. And the security operations staff is monitoring that traffic as it is coming in and out, and being able to identify when an attack might be taking place. So in an always on scenario, the customer really doesn't need to do much of anything. They're just being protected. But there is great visibility. So visibility into a mitigation for a DDoS type of attack is going to have a pretty wide range depending on the type of service that you look into. Looking at some of the more entry-level services which provide more limited capabilities, of course, you're going to receive a little bit less visibility. And I've talked to customers who are using certain solutions where they really don't have much visibility at all. They sort of get a report at the end of the month, and that's kind of really the most visibility they have. If they want to actually see what's happening or going on, they need to support tickets or they need to reach out and talk to somebody directly. But then other solutions provide some visibility and some limited visibility. And then as you get into the enterprise type solutions, you can expect to be able to have more visibility into your traffic and into any mitigations that might be happening in the case of an attack. So with the F5 Silverline service, the visibility that you have in an always on or always available scenario is pretty advanced and detailed. So basically you have access to a web portal. That web portal allows you to see the traffic that's running through the scrubbing center, and it also helps you to see what sort of traffic is being mitigated and blocked and stopped, and what traffic is actually passing through, where that traffic is coming through, and a lot of other detailed information that people will find helpful and useful. In an always available scenario, the traffic is running through the customer's data center as it normally does on a day-to-day business. But if an attack happens to take place, the customer can then send their traffic to the Silverline scrubbing center, and we will begin mitigating that attack, send back the clean traffic until that attack has ceased, and then reroute that traffic. And then the customer will reroute that traffic back through their normal data center, and they're back to business as usual. And as in the always on, the always available, they also have that access through the web portal to be able to see that mitigation as it is happening and understand that traffic, where it's coming from, and what bad traffic is actually coming in and what clean traffic is going out. Also within this, Security Operations Center has access to communicate with the customer through that portal. So within the portal, we provide a secure encrypted chat. We use HipChat for that. So you can actually communicate with the Security Operations Center and talk to them as they're actually mitigating the attack. Now, one of the really good things that we provide in our Security Operations Center is we have tier two level people that are working there. So if you are in your portal and you are watching an attack and it is being mitigated and you are chatting with our SOC, you're actually talking to the person that is mitigating that attack. You aren't submitting a ticket and waiting on someone to get back with you. It's real time communication with the SOC to be able to help you understand how that attack is being mitigated and how we are helping you by the service. That's not the only way in which you can communicate with the SOC. You can actually just pick up the phone and you can talk with them over the phone. And again, who you are actually talking to is tier 2 level and above. So that person you're talking to is actually helping you to mitigate the attack while they're on the phone with you. So it is real-time service that we're providing. So I want to talk a little bit more about the SOC and the availability and the support. And I've talked a lot about DDoS so far in this presentation. And we provide another service as well, and that's Web Application Firewall. So to give you a little information about F5, we made our start in basically our bread and butter here at F5 Networks is application delivery. So we provide application delivery controllers, and we have TMOS as our operating system. So on this operating system, it makes our platforms completely scalable. So we have different modules that you can use to work within all areas of the data center and the networking infrastructure. One of those modules that we provide, we call Application Security Manager. And what Application Security Manager does is it acts as a web application firewall to help you to understand vulnerabilities in your applications, understand new attacks and new ways that people are trying to get in and corrupt those applications. And we help you to create policies to protect yourself from that. And that's ASM, and that's something that resides or can reside on any of our hardware platforms. What we have found amongst our customers and amongst the marketplace is that a web application firewall takes many resources to be able to manage because new attacks are coming up each and every day. New vulnerabilities to applications are coming up each and every day, especially as applications update. So when you're updating your applications to a new version, there may be new vulnerabilities that will that can be identified, and hackers can identify with those new vulnerabilities. They can create new attacks, and so therefore managing a web application firewall is a constant thing. It's a day-to-day thing. So a lot of our customers and people in the marketplace that are using web application firewall usually have a couple of people that are dedicated to managing that web application firewall, so dedicating specific services to that. And some companies just don't, either one, they don't have the resources to allocate to that, or they don't have the money to apply resources to that. So what we provide through our SOC is we manage that web application firewall for the customer. And our WAF uses the exact same scrubbing centers as our DDoS solution. Basically, our data centers are in Equinix facilities, and providing the DDoS solution is something that we started doing, and we implemented F5 ASM and F5 technology to not only be able to provide the DDoS through those scrubbing centers, but also to act as a web application firewall for customers. Now our SOC, and this is the big selling point of the web application firewall service that we provide, is our SOC will write all of the policies and help you to build up and manage that resource, because it is a fully managed web application firewall service that we provide. And one of the great benefits that our customers have is, if our customer is running ASM on-prem, those policies that are being built by our SOC in the cloud for anybody using the Silverline WAF managed service, those policies can be exported and put onto the on-premise F5 ASM hardware, and you can basically run the exact same policies on-prem as you're running in the cloud. So it gives you the availability to not only create a fully developed managed web application firewall in the cloud, but to replicate that web application firewall in your on-premise data center. And if you would like to learn more information or see a more detailed presentation of the F5 Silverline, I would be happy to get an engineer along with me to walk you through the portal, show you the visibility that you can see with the service, and talk to you a little bit more a custom way to understand how you're doing your business today and how we could help to provide this service for you.
Thank you, Andy. That was a great presentation. As Andy mentioned, we're available to go through this in a little bit more in depth. This was kind of an overview. I know denial of service is a huge topic. It's really grabbing a lot of headlines right now, and a lot of people have eyes on it. Couple of ways that you can get a hold of us. You can email us at help@cbihome.com. You can also visit our website, cbihome.com. Again, I'd like to thank you on behalf of F5 and CBI for coming out for today's webinar.